All right. A little early tonight. Let's see. Who's here? Henry, hello. William, good evening. Let me get on YouTube so I can put the live chat. I mean the pop-out chat on. Let's see. I'm a little bit early. Tim is here. Oh, you're up late, Tim. Tim Freeman also welcome. Hagry. Oh boy, look at this. All the UKs. Willie CK. Small Engine. Phil. Holy cow. Got a lot of guys tonight. I'm trying to get on YouTube so I can do the pop-out chat. I'm having some issues. Give me a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Huh. I'm trying to join the video and it's not letting me join it on YouTube. I can see you guys on StreamYard. I can see everybody on StreamYard, but I'm having trouble with the YouTube one. Do me a favor. Someone post a link to the YouTube, this video on YouTube in the chat. I'll see if I can get there that way. I don't know why it's giving me problems. I'm on StreamYard fine, but I can't seem to upload the same thing into YouTube. If someone could just upload the link, the YouTube link of this video. And then once I get the pop-out chat, it'll just be easier to talk to you guys. The StreamYard chat doesn't work as good as the pop-out chat on YouTube. So, Petes, good evening. How you doing? Let's see. James is scheduled to be here 9-ish. We had a person chime in with some generator questions after the last one we did. And hopefully, I don't know if James contacted him or if he's going to talk to him tonight. But I fixed a generator today. I want to talk about that. Fairly easy fix. But let's see. I don't know why I'm having trouble with YouTube. Yeah, it's putting me into the studio, not regular YouTube. I don't want to go in the studio, guys. I'm already there. Anyway, Chris, good evening. Roadrunner, hello. Allie, hey, there you go. Allie, I'm trying to get into YouTube to do this stuff. I don't know why I can't. hold on. I'm going to type in the word YouTube because I'm trying to go into YouTube and it's put me into the studio. I don't want to be in the studio. I'm just regular YouTube. Let's see. I forgot you have to be a moderator to do that. So hopefully. All right, here's regular YouTube. Let's go into, come on. Go into my videos. And it should come up. And I should be able to see it's hitting studio. Why is it coming up with studio? And studio won't let me do moderators or any of that. I don't want that. Oh, Lord. Let's see. I don't know, guys. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try this link here. Hold on. Hey, look at that. It worked. Okay. All right. Now I can do the pop-out chat. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try this link here. Hold on. Hey, look at that. It worked. Okay. All right. Now I can do the pop-out chat. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try this link here. Hold on. Hey, look at that. It worked. Okay. Okay, so I just shut off YouTube. Let me pull in the pop-out. All right, let's see if that works. Hopefully it'll work. Sorry about that. Let's see. All right, come on. Okay, here's the pop-out. And how's that, Allie? That should be good now. Throw something in there, Allie. You should have a wrench now. All right. I will put out the link for the stream. Hopefully James will see it. There we go. Okay. There's the link for the stream. Hopefully James, he's still got a few minutes left. I think he's got to put his kids to bed, so he may be on here a few minutes or whatever. Right now, William, I only have Allie at the moment. I don't really, there's a lot of my friends out here that help me out, and I help them out. So I'll throw a few in there. The ones, don't feel bad if I don't make you a moderator. The ones I make moderators real quick are ones that I know are very good at it, that can, go in right at, if there's a troll or something, I know they're going to be fast and take care of it. So don't feel bad if I don't make someone a moderator immediately. I just know certain individuals are very good at it. And when I see those people, then, I know they'll help me out. Hopefully James will be here in a couple minutes. I had a generator today. I'm going to do a video on it. It was a brushless generator, a McCulloch 5700 that a customer of mine had, and it didn't make any juice. And I reflashed the field coils, and it made about 30 volts. And it turned out it was a brushless generator, and it had a capacitor in it. So I have a capacitor tester. I tested it. It tested. How's Maddie? Maddie's pretty good, Tim. I expect him to contact me in the next couple of days or weeks or whatever to help him out, because his father, those of you that don't know, Dr. Matty Olson, our friend from Matty Olson Chainsaw videos, his father passed away a couple weeks ago. His father actually lived literally about 7 miles from me, so he's pretty close. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Maddie, and I'm sure he's thinking about us too, Timmy. So yeah, I guess everything's okay. You know, it's going. You know, it's a long process, I guess. But Lawnmower Detective, how you doing, buddy? Do I know what size bolt is used on an oil pump cover on a Briggs 20 Intech? I don't want to pay close. $10. I'm trying to think. 20 horse Intech. That's not. Trying to think. It's either got to be like a 1032, a 1224, or a quarter 20. 20 horsepower Intech. Anybody out there? Let's see if anyone else can help with that. I don't know if I have a 20 horse Intech in the basement. I could look at my other. Is it a single or a twin? 20 horse is a twin, I'm assuming. Trying to think. Base. What size is the head of the bolt, Detective? Because usually the size of the head of the bolt will tell you what size the threads are. For example, quarter 20s are generally a 7/16 hex. 5/16 hex, that's usually 5/16, that's small. That's like 1032 or 1024. If I was on shop, I have my repair manuals downstairs, but I don't know if they'd have. I'm trying to think. Somebody Google ASME or AISI bolt sizes and see what head a 5/16 hex relates to. It's probably a 1032. Oh, they're metric, Tim? Oh, boy. Metric. So probably 1032 is 190 thousandths. 1032 is generally the same exact size as an M5. So 1032 and M5 are around the same. So, yeah, but it was 5/16, so you sure it's not 8 millimeter, Detective? Because if it's metric, it'd be an 8 millimeter. 8 millimeter is roughly the same as 5/16, 3125. Yeah, same thing. 79083. Actually, I've had a lot of luck. If you Google 790-832, or sometimes if you go on to either e-replacement, jacks, or one of the common ones we use, it'll give you the size. So if someone wants to play around while we're talking and do some searches on the part sites for that 790-832, I've had luck with like e-replacement. Some of those parts will list in the description the exact size and length too. So hopefully while we're doing the stream, someone can find that out. That would be helpful, guys. But anyway, who else do we have here? Double White 6, Bob. Welcome, buddy. Hey, Bob, I'm looking at one of your videos, Bob. The one where you took I think it was a Briggs Intech, the valve guide, and you MIG welded it so it wouldn't pop back up. I've got a Kawasaki in the driveway. The problem is with the Kawasaki, I have one valve guide that did pop up and cause the push rods to bend and all that stuff. The problem is the way that Cowie does their valve guides, they push them in from the bottom flush. There's not really much sticking out. So in order to put a little bit of a MIG on the side, I'm going to have to tap it down maybe, 30, 40 thousandths to put a little MIG spot in there. The option is, I've seen videos where you can put a 1024 or 1032 set screw in the side. I could do that. I mean, I have a Bridgeport. I could do that. But I liked your video. And those that haven't seen it, Bob's got some real good videos, Double Wide 6. And one of them is how to take a little MIG wire and spot weld on the valve guide so it won't stick up anymore and cause you bent push rods. Real good video, Bob. It was very helpful. I'm hoping to do it on the Cowie tomorrow. So anyway, maybe Bob knows. Do you know, Bob, on the bottom of an Intech, what size bolt that is? I'm assuming, Timmy says it's metric. In that case, to me, that would be like an M5. If it's a 5/16 or 8 millimeter head, to me, that's M5. Maybe someone could look it up. We'll see what happens. Casey, good evening. Second Chance, good evening. We got Phil, we got Bate, we got Timmy, we got everybody. Actually, let me see. I'm going to, where's my phone? I will text James the stream number, unless he's looking it up online right now. Let's see. Yeah, the cow. This one, Bob, it's a Cowie on a Husqvarna, sort of like one of the ones you've had. You worked on a bunch of those Husqvarna lawn tractors. I think it's 18 horse, not that big, but it is a twin. The problem is, I found out from my dealer that Kawasaki offers complete heads now only for certain V-twin engines, not all of them. This one is at least 10 years old, so it's not on the list of offerings. So if you wanted to buy a complete head, all the parts combined together, it's like a la carte. It's like $400. Just the head is like $210. And that's a bare head. It comes with the guides, but it's just the head. You'd have to buy everything else or replace it with the old stuff. So this is a friend of mine trying to save him some money. So I figured, let me try your welding trick. I mean, hopefully it'll work. I mean, it's a lawnmower, right? It's not rocket. So what does Terrell say? Ain't the space shuttle, you know? So anyway, if anybody wants to come up, like I said, here is the link. And let me text James with that link so that he can take advantage of that. Let's see. Where are we here? Let's see. Anyway, who else we have here? Which more mystery, Pate? Which one are we talking about? Which one are we talking about? Yeah, you know, the Kohler, the lifters, Brandon. What's his name? There's another guy out there. Shoot, I think he's in Pennsylvania. He replaced the lifters on his Kohler, and it quieted him down. Craig Arndt. It's Craig, CRAIGARNDT. Craig Arndt. Look up his Kohler Command valve lifter replacement. He's got a great video on it. He bought the lifters. In fact, one of the lifters came out in pieces. It actually came apart. When he put the new lifters in, quieted it down, it was beautiful. Really was. Let's see. Willie's got a bunch of Intex stuff. Let's see. I'll post a link again. I don't know if James is watching. Let me see if I can text him. Now, you know what I'll do? I'll just take a picture of what it is. Hold on, guys. I'm going to take a picture of the link number, and I'll just send it to James real quick. Boom. There we go. He said he had to put the kids to bed, so maybe he's still doing that. I'll send him the link for the StreamYard. There we go. What would we do without cell phones and all this garbage, huh? All right, James. There he is. Bingo. All right, he's got the link to the StreamYard chat, so hopefully he'll be up here soon, and we can start talking more about generators. Let's see. I mean, who else? If anyone wants to, I mean, we have Double Wide Six here, Bob. If anyone wants to throw a link into Bob's channel, feel free. He's got some real great videos. Pate, everybody, you know, throw some links into you guys' channels. That's fine. That's fine by me. You got a lot of you guys have some great channels, some great content, stuff like that. So, who else do we have here? Let's see. Maybe Small Engine Mike will be with us again tonight. He was here with us 2 weeks ago. Mike from 805 Road King. Bob, I made you moderator. If you want to share a link to your channel, feel free, Bob, because I know a lot of people could learn a lot from your channel. Condon. Yep, he just texted me. He's going to join. So, all right, he got the message. He'll be up shortly. And we'll start the generator chat. So there's the link again. Yeah, free mowers. I still have a few for Pate. I don't know if he'll ever come up and get them, but one of them I ended up giving away. to the guy with the Frankenmower. I felt so bad for the guy. He got hosed. And Jason, I feel for people that pay a lot of money. This guy paid over $200 for that Frankenmower, which to me wasn't even worth $25, to be honest with you. It had internal problems, all kinds of stuff. So I felt bad for him. So I ended up cleaning up one of those Toros I had, and I gave it to him. I said, you know what? And this is the guy who owns the generator I just fixed. So hopefully, he's a good customer, so I can't complain. We'll see what happens. Let's see. LPG Vanguard. Ooh. Yeah, I was going to say over $4 a gallon. Propane, though, gets kind of costly, though, depending on how you store it. If you got a real big tank, I know a lot of people are using natural gas. They're piped from their house and their grills and things like that. They're using that on their generators too. And I've done it for a guy where I hooked it up to natural gas in a little shed 130 or 140 feet from his house. And it just kicks on with an automatic switch and everything. It really works good. So, but like I said, once James comes up, we'll talk about this McCulloch. Actually, a pretty simple fix, and he should be here shortly. But let's see. Any other engine questions or anything? Hey, Bob, somebody wants to see you go up and talk. That's okay. Bob did a couple live streams. Him and his kids, I saw him on there a little bit. He's done a few, but anyone's welcome up. Someone wants to come up and talk engines, talk generators, feel free. I mean, I don't discriminate. Whoever wants to come up, as long as you're not a troll and you want to talk engines and stuff, fine with me. So, what else happened today? Stay Bill. I have a customer this morning, and I don't know. Yeah, no, I go live Sunday morning. Second Chance Pates is on tomorrow. They're on tomorrow at 8 a.m. Jason and Chris are on 8 a.m. every Saturday morning. I'm on 8 a.m. Eastern time every Sunday morning. I just did this one because one of the people who had a comment in the chat decided, Jason, touch your nose, buddy. There we go. What's up, pal? Oh, and here comes.
How are you?
Good. James is coming up. Oh,
Happy
James.
Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. Touch your nose, James, so I know what you do. There we go. All right. There we go. We got a panel now.
Mr. Condon.
How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. We got a lot of people waiting for you.
Oh, really?
Did you ever get a hold of that guy who texted us?
I did. Yeah. I sent him an email last night. He responded today. So I gave him a heads up about the stream tonight. I'm not sure if he's going to make it, but he did send me his contact information.
He's here. He's here right now. He's right on there right now. Weston Woodwards. That's him. So
yes.
He's here. Oh, cool. Because I guess those of you that don't know, because you wouldn't know, Mr. Edwards there bought I'm trying to think, is it a Generac 4000? Is that what the generator was?
Yeah, it was a 4000 EXL, I think.
And he had a brand new rotor he bought because he didn't know if he needed one. And he was just concerned that should he even have bought a new rotor, how would he know if the rotor was good or bad? So can you explain some of the stuff you explained to him, James?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't clear, I guess, whether it was the rotor or stator, but it's pretty much the same test for each. You need to test the ohms using a multimeter. And that's not a guarantee that it's good. You really need to do a high voltage test to be 100% sure, but you want to check the ohms on the rotor. And on those Generacs, the rotor is pretty low. Could be 7 to 14 ohms, whereas like the stuff I usually work on, it's higher, like 50. And the stator should be pretty low, like 0.5 or less.
When you said high voltage, you talking like a high pot test or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll tell you for sure. Sometimes they'll work, even though there is an insulation problem, and that's kind of the thing. Like sometimes people ask me, why don't you test everything that comes in? And it's like, well, then what? Because half of them would probably fail. I don't do leak down tests on every engine I get either, because it's a whole can of worms, I'm
How
sure.
would you do a high pot test, though? We do high pot at work, and we actually have generators that make like 50,000 volts, and that's how we do our high pot. How would you do a high pot on like a home generator?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one, so I can't tell you from experience, but there are battery operated ones. Maybe it's not called a high pot, but you know, like a Mega, or there's a few different names out there.
Mega
But
test, yep.
yeah, so
Yeah, those
that's
that
the
are
type of
familiar,
test.
you're inducing high voltage into it to see if it has leaks or whatever, you know.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean that's with that said, if you don't have one of those, and who does, an
Yeah,
ohms test will usually tell you. And if it's not making power and you do an ohms test and it
yeah,
fails,
yeah.
then you know it's bad. But you also need to test the windings to ground or to each other, because the insulation could be broken in different ways other than just a pure break.
Now, every single spot where the wire comes into the armature there, check each one of them, or?
I mean, on the rotor, there's only 2 slip rings. You just check that, and then you check from one of the slip rings to ground on the body of it, and that's it. But for the stator, you do have to check each winding. They're in pairs, so you would check each pair, basically.
Hey, explain that to me, because I know you're talking about it, and a lot of people that aren't familiar with it. You have opposed pairs, I guess. Some have 2, some have 3. Can you explain the difference between that? The different, like if you have 2 or 3 or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, the stator, if you have a 240 volt generator, you have 2 main coils, and they're both 120 volts, but the 120 volts 180 degrees out of phase, meaning when one's positive 120 volts, the other one's negative 120 volts, and that's how you get the 240. So like a battery, like a AA battery, if you put 2 of them together in the right way, you don't have 1.5 volts, you now have 3. So when you're checking, or when you're looking at your stator, it might only have 3 wires, because the one in the middle, technically you can just run 1 wire out, so you only need 3 wires. But sometimes they'll run them out separately, and then they'll combine them later on. But you know, you have 2 coils, either 3 or 4 wires coming out, and then you have usually 4 more wires coming out to the AVR if you know you have a modern setup. And those are also additional coils, at least the DPE winding.
Yeah, that one I worked on today, thankfully it worked. But I tell you, $50 for a little, it looks like a little Chinese capacitor. It doesn't weigh anything. I mean, for what I paid for with shipping and everything, it was close to like $60. And but like you were saying, James, you really want to get the right microfarad rating. Yeah. And I was amazed. This guy even wrote on the ad for eBay, you know, for McCulloch. So he knew what the application was. I've got different generators here, and every one of them that had a capacitor has different microfarad ratings. So it's like no 2 are alike that I've seen.
Yeah. No, I mean, they range anywhere from like 10 to probably 70. It really depends on what you have. And yeah, it's yours, I think, was an odd number too. It was like 26.
Yeah, it was 26 at 450 volts.
Yeah. That's an odd one. At least when you look online, most of the ones I saw were in increments of 5. But they do make 26 apparently.
And that's what it was. And, you know, I remember you and I were texting each other when I tested it, and I have a video coming out tomorrow that'll show me testing it and putting in the other one and all that stuff. I mean, it ended up working perfectly. When I tested it, I believe it tested 10.6 or 10.9 megafarad. And I bought, you know, people are like, oh, you expensive meter. No, it was a $20 meter. And I think last week's I put the link for it. You know, really, it was $18.99 free shipping. And it's only used for testing capacitors. But you know what? You could charge that in your first job when you fix one. So for $20, right?
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I plugged it in. I didn't even test it, James. I said, you know what? I was working out in the driveway on something this morning. The UPS guy comes, throws me the envelope. I said, screw it. I took the camera out real quick. I took off the 4 screws. I stuck it on there, wire tied it, turned it on. Boom. the frequency was a little high. It was around 62 to 61.8. So it wasn't too bad, but the voltage scared me a little bit because it was 124 and it seemed a little high, but I figure when it's under load and stuff, 61, 62, 124, that may come down pretty good when it's loaded,
Yeah, there's no AVR in that. So you're going to get high voltage under no load. And I've had ones that go about up to 130 volts with no load at about 62 hertz. So, but when you load it up, it'll go down to like 115 volts. I mean, it'll drop quite a bit.
So I won't touch it then. He's coming to get it tomorrow, so I'll just leave it then. That's good. All right, cool. But explain too, though. I mean, a lot of people have been texting me and messaging me saying, how do I know if I have a brushless versus brushes? And I mean, and I know, if you open up the end cover, the end bell, and you see there's literally, the brush pack, and I've seen in some of your videos, I don't know if they're the Briggs ones or not, but I've seen some of the brush holder have a circuit board with like an AVR built into the brush holder. Is that a specific brand or who does that?
It is Briggs. I mean, that's not an AVR. It's just a regulator, meaning it's just DC voltage, and that's it. So you'll see the high voltage kind of like you did on the brushless. But the big giveaway, I mean, you most of them are brushed. But if it is brushless, I'd say 80% of the time it'll advertise it on the generator because that is considered like a premium generator head. But you're not going to get a steady voltage. And some people say you're not even supposed to use brushless on sensitive electronics because of the nature of how it works. It's not as steady.
Yeah, it's not like an inverter where you have a nice clean signal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not super clean, but there's less to go wrong. I think the capacitor is the biggest problem on those. But if it doesn't say on the generator, you have to take the cover off. And it's pretty obvious. If you see a big, huge capacitor in there, then it's brushless. End of story. You need a big capacitor for those.
You mentioned something to me the other day, and hold on, I'm going to put you on solo. You mentioned something to me the other day where I was looking up capacitors, and you said make sure you don't get a startup capacitor because a lot of people will make the mistake. They'll see the $5-6 capacitor that's made for AC compressors, and it's made just to start up the motor. And it will not sustain in run. It'll burn out or whatever. So, I don't know the technical difference, but I know for a fact when you see capacitors on there, check for the word startup versus run, or even generator. Some of them you'll even right now, it's a generator capacitor, so you know what you got. Because I found a 26 megafarad for $5.99, but then you said, well, that's cheap. Is it a startup or is it run? It was a startup. So it wouldn't have worked anyway. It may have worked for 5 minutes, but then it wouldn't have sustained, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're only meant for temporary use to start the compressor. And they will fail quickly if you try to use it continuous. So, I mean, they do sell cheap ones. I mean, this one here was like $12. And I almost used it, but I ended up finding a slightly more appropriate one for the generator I was working on, so I just bought that one. But if they're labeled generator capacitor, they're easily twice the price.
More than that. This thing was $49.99 with $8 shipping. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so. And I don't know. I haven't had to replace too many capacitors, so I know one of the things I was concerned about when I did it was that. I've read in a few places you should use a special type of capacitor, a special chemistry that if it burns up, it's not going to catch
it's going to flame out really quick. Yeah, it'll flame out quick.
Exactly.
Yeah, they call it
one like that.
Yeah,
exactly. And this one's oil filled, so it's going to fan the flames a bit. And, that's something to keep in mind. But with that said, on a lot of generators, that's exactly what they use, kind of OEM. So,
Hey Phil, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all sideways, huh?
A little bit. Just turn your phone. Turn your phone 90 degrees. Oh, now you're upside down.
Now you're really sideways.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
Whose birthday was it? Was it you, Jason Pate, or was it another Jason?
It was mine.
Oh, because mine was Tuesday, election day.
Yeah.
When was yours?
I was the 5th.
Okay. All right. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Listen, we were just in the chat. A lot of small engine baby making went on in February.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, actually, funny story. When I was in the hospital, I was actually in an incubator when JFK got shot.
Oh, okay. I can't compete with that.
No, I was a preemie. I was like 2 months preemie, so I was in the hospital for like a month, and I was actually in an incubator when the news came over. So that's kind of weird. Anyway, just proves I'm an old man, you know. But anyway, let's see. Generator. What else do I want to talk about? Generator. There was a piece of, it looked like paper, James, like almost like an insulating plastic or paper shim that went behind the capacitor when I wire tied it to the mount, and I just didn't know if that was like maybe a heat shield or something.
That's a good question. Actually, I haven't seen that on.
Yeah, it's like a vacuum. Yeah, like a gasket or something. It's pretty weird, but could be for heat.
Yeah, it could be potentially. I mean, like batteries, they'll do that just for the vibration. I don't know if capacitors are sensitive to that, but who knows?
Yeah. Mikey, it was definitely a big incubator because I was a big. No, actually, no. I take that back. I was born on a Sunday, but it wasn't last Sunday. All right, so no, but I was preemie. I was literally 3 pounds and like 10 ounces. That's how preemie. I was really small, but like they say, the runt of the litter is usually gets big. So that's what happened in my case. So anyway. Are you working on anything right now, James? I saw you posted a vid the other day. I saw that one. Anything else you got going on?
Yeah, I got a bunch of videos in the queue. Just finished up 2 the other day, and actually I'm working on another home light Husky generator, just like the video I posted today.
You love those sideways generators. If anyone hasn't ever tried to move one of those, now generators are tough to move anyway. And those that have wheels and handles, you lift them up lengthwise. No. Husky makes theirs this way, so that when you want to lift them, your arms are spread out like 3 feet when you want to try and lift and move that. I don't know why they ever did that. Yeah,
it's a very odd setup, but I've got to say, a lot of generators are balanced very, very badly. That one, you can get around pretty easily. Like I was working on one last week. It's a gigantic one. It has basically a tractor engine to power the generator head. And the way they made it, you can't tilt it far enough to get a center of gravity. So anywhere you try to bring it, it just wants to flop down, and you can't move it. And yeah, it's no good. But yeah, I like the Husky and home lights because they have the Subaru engine, which are very nice. Like I definitely think it's one of my favorites to work on.
I'm trying to think who bought them because Subaru sold the Robin engine division. So Subaru doesn't make the small engines anymore. I think someone said it may have been Daihatsu or one of those companies, but they definitely sold off. And
you can get them on your generic, economic pressure washer. So they definitely have streamed the line along as far as some of the commercial stuff. I haven't seen a commercial Subaru in quite some time. Honestly, they all look like a Honda. They do. But on
the Subarus, they actually have the McCuney carburetors, and they are expensive. I mean, you try and get one of those carbs, they're $350.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I just fixed the carb on this one. A little critter. I'm giving away the whole video, but a little critter had made a nest in the carburetor vent. So, I open this carburetor up. It looks pristine. It looks brand new, but it will not run. It just constantly flooded out, and needle and seat were fine. Blocked the vent.
Yep.
And
I find that a lot in the, especially in the Tecumsehs, in the crankcase breather tube. Mud dauber wasps like to make their nest in that little vent tube, and all of a sudden you start the engine and it starts pissing oil out your governor shaft, and you're like, what the heck's going on? And the rubber tube, you'd never knew it. Then you go to feel it, it's like crunchy, and then mud comes out of it. It's a mud wasp.
Yeah.
Built a nest inside. So
it's funny you mentioned that, because I worked on a Tecumseh and I was having trouble. I pulled the airbox off, but I left it dangling by the breather tube, and I didn't realize it, but it had kinked over. So I started it up, and oil started coming out of the governor shaft, and I'm like, oh great, there's a seal that's broken. And
oh no, definitely you need that breather.
The tube kinked. Yeah. Yep.
I've found a lot of them on the Colemans. I've seen probably 3 or 4 of the PowerMate Colemans lately, the red ones and the green ones that have the 10-horse Tecumseh. And I tell you, a lot of those I've had to replace. The exhaust valves were stuck, and they would run for like 3 minutes and then and just stall out because the exhaust valve would get hot. And so, you clean it up a little bit and, put a new head gasket in, it's fine. But for some reason, I don't know if it's the airflow or what, but they tend to stick the exhaust valves. Who else do we have in here today? We got Willie. Oh, JD Tech. Hey, JD. I usually see him on some of the other streams. He, I believe, works for a Kubota dealer now, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Phil, what are you up to? You got anything going on? Are you done cutting now or what?
Yeah, we're done for the season for lawn care, and basically finished the year off with sprinkler blowouts and fall cleanups. So right now we're getting like 40s, 30s, and like inch of snow here, inch of snow there, but nothing's sticking. It's kind of been raining. So
now, where are you in Washington State? Are you up north or where are you?
Oh, I'm in Spokane.
Or Spokane. Okay. All right. Yeah, here today, 72 degrees today. How about you, Jason? You getting these crazy weather temperatures?
So we had a really good cold snap, and it forced people to start their snowblowers. So I have a little bit of queue with snowblower videos coming out in the future. But they're all going to be all streamlined because we haven't had snow in 2 years. And like I said, we just had a really nasty cold snap, and it really, really scared people. Got a couple hits on a couple of snowblowers I had for sale. Nothing came to fruition. It is what it is, but we'll just keep going.
How many do you have now, Jay? About 20, 30 or what? You really...
Including my collection or not including my collection?
Well, for sale. What do you got for sale?
39.
Oh, my God.
Wow. I sold one of our animals in the collection, so we went from 40 to 39. She says, oh, that's right. You know what I did? I have 40 again. I'm sorry. But
I don't think I could fit more than 10 in my garage.
What was that?
I probably couldn't fit more than 10 in my garage. I got a small garage.
I have them stored all over. I'm very, very generous in that department. But it is what it is, right?
That's the killer without storage. Yeah.
The problem is I got greedy and I just kept buying and buying and buying as I was selling them, and then it just stopped selling them. It is what it is, right? Without risk, there's no reward. No. So we crunched the numbers. I mean, just because it was killing us, and even though I have 40 snowblowers in storage, I'm still in the green with them just sitting there. So it is what it is.
I hope you're stabilizing all the fuel there in those snowblowers, huh?
So even though I preach, stabilize fuel on my channel, when I store equipment, I run them dry. I do not.
Same. Yeah.
Any
either fill them with ethanol-free fuel, because I've heard ethanol-free lasts about 6 months. Okay. So that's perfect for the winter season, or I run them dry because I don't really like running them dry because you still get that sediment that likes to crack the fuel lines. I've heard of the rubber cracking the fuel lines as far as dry fuel.
Yep.
But that's one reason I don't like. Go ahead.
You have ethanol free at the pumps, Phil, or what?
Yeah, we got ethanol free like 10 minutes away from my house. So.
See, we don't have that luxury. Yeah.
So I don't run ethanol free because where I am on the island, about 15 to maybe 10, 15 minutes from my job, which would probably be about 30 minutes from home, is ethanol free gas, but they sell it under CAM 2.
Yeah, it's 100 octane, right?
Which is a race gas, and that's anywhere from $10 to $12 a gallon. So forget it.
Wow.
If I want to travel about 45 minutes, an hour to the end of the island, which is more like farm country, then it would be a different price. But to me, it's not worth it. So I run my 5-gallon jug. I put stabilizer in there, And then, as you guys see on my channel, every machine I service or tinker with, I always put a little Kappa seafoam, just because it's also a cleaning agent.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious to see, Tarrell's end of his series, because I could possibly be doing overkill, because seafoam is a stabilizer, but I'm just a very creature of habit, and if I know it works, I'll stop and I'll just stay with it, and I won't deviate, from that path.
Yeah. Terrell just did the November version of that video, so he's been doing it, I think, since March.
Yeah, I think it's a great video series. I can't understand anybody. I don't care if you're an armchair scientist, armchair smart. I don't understand how anybody could criticize that video series. There is nothing else out there that is the what is Tarrell's doing. Project Farm, another great channel.
Yeah, Project Farm is really good. Yeah,
hasn't done anything to what Tarrell is doing to that capacity. And I think anybody from the small end community to just a homeowner should be very, very grateful to see what Tarrell is doing and using his connections to get a lot of content.
Hey, if somebody wants to send me 20 engines to play with, hey,
so it's very good. So I'm very curious to see, what do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, I had that today. I had my customer this morning called me up. Now, like I said, I'm on vacation this week, so I'm supposed to be fixing stuff around the house for the honey-do list. Yeah, right. That's going to happen, right? So anyway, people see my truck in the driveway. Oh, you're home? So they start dropping stuff off, And one guy calls me up and he says, oh, my Honda won't start. And I service it every year. And I said, okay. So I go over his house. First, he hands me a Hitachi handheld leaf blower. Now, I don't really like Hitachi power equipment products that much because they're sort of like overbuilt. The parts are hard to get, things like that. But this was just a generic, almost similar to like what we call the weed eater, those little teeny like $79.95 ones you get at Walmart. Anyway, the porcelain in the spark plug, the crimp detached. The porcelain was going up and down like this, but it actually made spark and ran. All right. So I'm looking at the thing running, and you can see the wire and the spark plug doing this. And I said, what the heck? So I shut it off, and the porcelain was disconnected, so you could pull the electrode up and down 100 thousandths. It actually ran.
Good
so I changed the plug, and it was fine. Then he shows me the Honda push mower, and I'm pulling. I'm like, what the heck did you do? I said, I serviced this thing in the fall. What he did was Stable, or I don't know what brand he used, but it wasn't Stable. Is there a brand? Oh,
I hate Stable, brand? Man.
No, this is what's that stuff for the boats? Startron.
Okay, but Stable makes a
Stable 360 Marine or something like that.
It's a green color. I say Startron is like a blue color. The Startron green stuff. Anyway, I said to him, "Look, stabilizing
Startron's blue.
Yeah, it was like that color. Yeah. So I said to him, Startron's good. I like Startron. It's a good thing. But he put so much in that it turned it into some cocktail. It looked like a melon ball cocktail or something, right?
It was stable. It was more than likely stable. That's what it does. It breaks down. It turns it into fish eggs, man, in the carburetor. Every time I pop out.
It was perfectly clean. There was no schmutz in there, no nothing. It looked like varnish as far as the color. You know how it stains your hands, that greenish yellow? All right? Yeah. It had the color to it, but it smelled okay. It just wouldn't burn. So I drained it all out. The carburetor, the jet was clogged. I cleaned it all out, put fresh fuel in, started right up. So I go to his house, and I go, where's this fuel? So he brings me the gas can, and I brought a clear bottle with me. I poured it into the bottle. It looked like lime Kool-Aid.
Mountain Dew.
He goes, oh, but I stabilized it. I go, when? It was like last October, like a year ago. I said, you know what? After 3 months, throw it out.
Yeah, dump it in your car. Or dump it in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, at COVID, I had to bend all my rules, which was fine. I have no complaints. I had a lot of people who bought stuff from me, and I don't know where some of these people. You seen I posted a video on my channel. Yeah. So my lawnmower, he put bad gas in it. I couldn't figure this thing out for life. Yeah. This thing is, and then it's like
I don't trust anybody's gas. I don't care if they take it out. Yeah, True Fuel or whatever. I drain it.
I had gas in it. I had a gas can laying around. I put gas in it. Oh, that's your problem. I can't charge anybody. COVID put a lot of stress on on a lot of people who shouldn't have owned the small engine in the first place, you know. But, you know, it is what it is. So you just want to make their introduction into lawn care and owning something, you know, not any more stressful than it should be. Me and my wife, we did our fair share of this season for sure. But we also got back tenfold, so I have no complaints. But now COVID is kind of fizzled out. So
don't say that. Connecticut, we're not doing so well.
Away with it too.
Our governor wants us to have only 6 people for Thanksgiving dinner, and you got to leave by 10 o'clock. I'm like, really? Tell that to my wife's Italian family. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, it is what it is. But like, you want to go back to fuel stabilizers. I used to hate any fuel stabilizer of some sort because I've had a few experiences with stabilizer where people would, you know, over apply it and just
more is better.
That's the good thing about seafoam is you can over apply and it won't hurt the motor.
Yeah, because it burns.
So that's why I switched over. Yeah, that's why I switched over to seafoam. I still have a bottle of Startron, but seafoam's like my #1 go-to for fuel treatment.
Run it out. And they would turn the carburetor into like concrete. And no matter, I could never get it out. Even with my bought an ultrasonic cleaner, nothing. Yep. So I actually wrote off stabilizer for like 2 years. But then the problem was I work on a project, I put it aside, and I go to work on it a year later, and I'm like, oh, if I would put stabilizer, and that would have saved me, you know, one last step. Believe it or not, you know, my supercharged Hemi Arians, that project is over a year old. I still have the original tank of gas in there because it's dual treated. I don't know. It's still good to go.
Hey, Jason, do you have like Napas around you?
So we do have Napas, but Napa is pricey, and I get a better commercial discount with my local.
No, the reason I say that, there's a fuel additive, and it's literally made in a guy's basement in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. It's a white bottle. It's probably a pint size. It's called FA, which stands for fuel additive. And there's the label is basically a red and gold label. In red letters, it says FA. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've had chainsaws that have had varnish in them, varnish gas. I had a cap full of this FA, shake it up, and it runs. I can't find it anymore. I don't know if the guy died, but if you're ever in the New York area, because the guy lived in Brooklyn, he actually made it in his basement. If you ever see something called FA, fuel additive, it's called FA. If you see that, I'll buy a case from you. I don't care what it costs. That stuff will make urine burn. I'm telling you. I'm serious. I put it in. People bring me chainsaws from the dump. I still have about 5 ounces left. And if you put a cap full in, shake it up, it'll burn.
I need that then. I need that because you guys know I hate 2-cycle. I have a chainsaw I've been toying with Maddie for the whole entire summer. And I just did not want to touch it because I hate 2-cycle. It's the point where I'm not.
I used to hate them because I didn't know enough about them.
Yep, absolutely. I understand. I'm not afraid to admit that I don't. I understand how they work.
The #1 rule of 2-strokes, and I told you everyone this: pull the muffler. The first, I don't care if it's your mother giving it to you saying I never touched it. Pull the muffler because how many times I've taken apart carburetors, fuel lines, this, that, and then pulling my arm off to find out it's scratched. Always pull the muffler. The cheapest thing. You know,
that's what I did today right here.
I see
Husqvarna 240. You don't like these, huh?
Is that from Husqvarna or a J?
No, Husqvarna. It's a Zama carb.
But is that from like the smaller version, like a 242 or something?
240.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it looked like. Yep. Oh yeah.
But the thing is, this was failing the pressure and vacuum testing. So
I have
rebuilding it
out of the bag, Phil. Those exact carburetors out of the bag, Husqvarna, hooked up to my Mighty Vac in a applesauce container, glass jar, and they bubble. Brand new out of the bag, not even used. 3 in a row from the dealer. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and what I did was I cleaned this whole thing with my ultrasonic cleaner. I even rebuilt it, right? And it still wouldn't run right. So I went ahead and told the customer, you can either buy an OEM chainsaw carb from Husqvarna for $60, or we can take our chances and go with an aftermarket $15 one.
I
ordered the $15.
Mine were Husqvarna. Mine were Husqvarna. And
well, guess what? Guess what? This aftermarket one worked perfectly. The only thing I had to do was adjust the high and low, and that was about it. So
I have great success with the aftermarket carbs on 2-cycle, but
I'm 50.
longevity-wise, they don't work great.
Yeah,
I
they tend
haven't had nobody come back. So I don't know.
What happens is the high and low screws actually thread out, and also the idle jet I've seen them threading out for some reason on the aftermarket carbs. They don't seem like they're holding.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe take them out and put some like blue Loctite or something in them. But
Don't put red.
No, not red.
They don't have the springs either. Some of them don't have the tension springs to hold them in.
Right.
You know, it's just an interference thread. But yeah, you're right.
Yep.
It all the time. Yep. Bruce is on the wrong computer. Oh, come on, Bruce. We love Bruce.
So I haven't. I've been a bad YouTuber. I've been so busy. James, what have you been working on lately? I think the last time I watched your channel, you were working on that leaf blower, the yellow one. I think you got it for $25, right?
Yeah, there wasn't really much to do on that one. It just ran.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's as easy as it gets.
there was no gas in it. That's why it was so cheap.
It was out of gas. It didn't really have a problem. I think the carb was a little bit lean. You know, quarter turn of the adjustment screw, and that was it.
Sure.
You know, the thing
Now,
runs
did you
well.
keep that for yourself, or you move that on?
That one I still have, but I am going to get rid of it. You know, I live in a really hilly property, and to use like a 4-cycle engine like that, going over all this stuff, I'm just going to burn the engine up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just too hilly. So it's good for driveways, but, you know, I'm not too interested in it. Like a backpack blower is probably better for what I need.
The Echo 8010.
What's that, Ken?
I would buy an Echo 8010 if you don't mind spending some money, because those things they're more powerful than a walk behind.
Yeah.
Echo sucks.
Not an 8010.
So
Echo
80
8010.
80. So I
What does that
remember.
Well, look at my hat. I got a steel hat on, and this is actually given to me by
VR 800 all the way. I actually own a 700, but the 800s are what I want. But they're like $649 at the dealer.
I just can't stand the noise of that stupid 4-mix engine. The ding, ding, ding,
I
ding.
love
ding,
it. I love the smell of it too. I used to work in a steel dealer, and starting up those 4-mixes for the first time is that nice sweet smell. Oh man.
You get this.
I don't know what.
I confess, I use steel ultra oil. I mix my own. I use the ultra. But if it's going to a customer, if it's something I fix, I give them a complimentary can of True Fuel and say, use it. Because my customers in a year may not go through one can of True Fuel. So, I mean, you're sort of giving away the customer because they're never going to come back if they use True Fuel. But at least it'll run the season and you won't get a call back. You know, how many people?
Yeah, and you're not gonna give them a can of Moto Mix by Steel. That stuff's like $20 for a small quart can.
That. Oh no, a gallon of it I think was $43 at my dealer. That was crazy.
Yeah,
I'll mix my own. But what I'll do is I'll go to the Sunoco station and get their Ultra, which is 93. I'll put it in a gallon jug. I'll put a shot glass of water in it. I'll shake it up, let it disperse where the alcohol attracts the water. Then I'll take a punch. I'll punch a hole above the water line, drain it into a container. There's my ethanol-free fuel.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I've done that too.
Do you want a backpack roll for leaf removal, or you're still raking?
Sorry. You ever use one of these?
Oh, Mr. Funnel, I did a video on it, James. The only problem, though, James, look at that filter. See the filter inside, the green filter? How tall is the filter? The filter's like underneath that filter. They got about 2 inches.
It's about an inch, yeah. So you always have an inch left in the bottom.
Exactly. But it's funny. Someone asked me to explain, physics and how that thing works, and I just tell them I said, take for example, a water molecule is the size of a 1-inch sphere. A gas molecule is the size of a 1/2-inch sphere. That 1-inch sphere isn't getting through the 1/2-inch hole. So that's basically what it is. You're trapping the larger molecules of water. They won't pass through the fuel molecule sized holes. Yeah. It's just like a coalescing air filter when you have an FRL set up in your shop. The coalescing filter displaces water, it's a coalescing filter. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's, I mean, everything I buy too, I drain the tank, I use the fuel, but I filter it, I take the water out, and then I put it usually in the tractor. I'm afraid to put it in the car because the fuel filter's in the tank, and it's a huge pain in the ass to change it if you clog it up.
Sure.
But, you know, for a while I was just collecting it and recycling it, but we only collect bad fuel twice a year. So if I miss one of those recycle days, I'll end up with like 30 gallons of crap fuel just hanging around. So try to use it.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, guys.
Mr. Penn.
Can you guys see him? I'm trying to click him on. There we go.
No, we can't see him.
Got him. I got him.
Hey, Bruce. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
Hey, good.
I enjoyed your STX 38, one of my favorite tractors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
I put a Chinese carburetor on it.
That's your personal one timer. Because
that one's the
No. He's got a one. What do you got? A 170, Bruce? 160?
No, I got a 180, a JD 180, and I have an STX 138 with that strange mulching deck. But it works good on my yard. It works good on my yard.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, Bruce, on the Chinese carburetors. Remember those two that I worked on over the summer? One of them, if you guys know the commands, it has a sheet metal guard where the throttle linkage goes and pivots like this. And on the Chinese carburetors, I actually got one where the linkage on top where you hook your Z bend into, it was too big. It was hitting the guard where I tightened down the two screws and it wouldn't move. So I actually had to file down the top of the belt, if you will, on top of the throttle shaft so it would clear.
It's funny you mentioned that because I had a similar issue with the clone where you put it on and the Z bend would catch. So when you start the machine up, it would try to throttle down. The plate would catch on this poorly machined part. It was running like wide open. So I literally had to get the governor rod, kind of bend it, having come in at a different angle so it would clear. But it's not, wasn't a great fit. But
I had it just what I did though was I was really shopping and I ended up buying the one for the 13 horsepower, not the 12.5.
Yep.
Because I was shopping. You know how it is. You can't find what you want, but you cross-reference it, and one site says it'll work, and one site said, and it was like $16, right? And I went online for the original Walbro, and of course it was $96. So I ordered the $16 one, and then right afterwards, my neighbor, the guy who owns it, has become a friend, and we discovered he lives 3 blocks away, right? But we didn't know that 5 years ago when I fixed his first machine. So he was he was working in his yard and cleaning up and staining holes in his fence. And I drove it over there, and he heard me coming, and bingo. And so I put about 2 miles on it before I gave it back to him.
Can we talk about why OEM carbs are so expensive? I mean, you honestly buy an aftermarket one, and it's like 90% cheaper.
They're made better.
No, it's the same reason why dogs lick themselves is because they can. They can.
Yeah, I thought.
I mean, imagine the markup on those.
So Ken, I want to interrupt. I was just going to send you an email, and I remembered. Oh, he's got his live stream tonight. You know those little low-speed idle plugs that you put into a Honda carburetor? Those plastic. They have 2 O-rings on them. Yep. And you just poke them in. Yeah. I found them on a go-kart site today. And they're you told me to look, and I found the.
What's his name?
Talking about the idle jet screw.
Yeah. No, not the screw. It's the plastic pilot jet.
Yeah.
Slips in, and then the idle screw plastic goes over top and holds it down.
The idle jet.
The right size O-rings and everything.
Well, you know what? I found them for one American site, $2.80. Canadian site, $5.30. But still, and then I found the O-rings for them. But it says they won't fit the Huawei or whatever it is ones. It'll only fit the what's that clone? The crazy clone, the
Hawaii
Predator.
Yeah, the Predator. Only the Predator. Yeah. They said it won't fit the Huawei carb, but I think it would. I think it would.
Bruce, while you're replacing those and while you're replacing those on carburetors, what issues are you running into with
humping?
Oh, Well, yeah.
Why don't you just clean them though, Bruce?
No,
Well, what I've cleaned them, and then they still hunt, and then I
Remember,
take
though,
my baker drill bits and I drill them out, and then they flood.
Yeah, there's
Flood,
three
yeah.
sizes.
Yeah.
So we have, because we're on an island, and we have a significant problem with surging with snow blowers. And all I have to do is open up that idle jet just a little bit.
I know.
Brand new one.
I've done 50 of them, and then the 51st one, you over drill it, and it just floods.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
do.
Like I said, they
You
come in
do.
3 different sizes. They come in
Yeah,
like 13,000s, 15, and 18.
Right. And those go-karters, they're crazy. They use the
Oh, yeah.
18s with the things, and they open up, and they,
You
You gotta
remember,
watch
go-karters too use a governor consisting of a piece of wire. That's their governor. So
And then one guy and then I went on to sorry I interrupted, but I think I'm on track. I went on to a blog site, and some guys just said, well, why don't you just buy the metric O-rings down to 3 by 2 millimeters
yeah.
with the 1 millimeter width or whatever it is on the O-ring.
McMaster car.
And just
Okay.
yeah, well, I've got
Bruce,
those, but I don't have them down that small.
How much are those jets right there? Those are the ones you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the pilot jet. Would you say
okay.
In the States,
Yeah, how
they're
much were they?
$3, and in Canada, they're $5 online.
Yeah. $3 to $5.
Yeah.
And I can order the whole carburetor for 11.
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
that's the
But
problem.
then you've got Jetson's parts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I just hate wasting stuff. At my age, you get stuff, and you have enough stuff, and you don't want to stick another piece of stuff on top of the stuff. So you
But
just
the
want
one day you need it, right? The day
Yeah.
after, you throw it out.
Now, luckily, I'm pretty organized. I'm pretty organized. I know what I've got. But now my Briggs box of carburetors is overflowing, and but my Tecumseh carburetors are going down because they quit making them, and it's getting harder and harder and harder to find Tecumseh stuff. So they're a little more precious now than they were even a few years ago.
Mm.
Now,
OEM Tecumseh.
Are you still running into trouble finding rebuild kits, or?
No, to be honest with you, that video was about 6 weeks old, but it only came out last week, right? I'm just catching up from all those blue wheelbarrow compressors I had all summer. And but at that time, I couldn't find them. I made the video, and the statement came out. And then about 2 weeks later, all of these rebuild kits hit the internet. But anyway, a real nice guy, Jeff, somebody sent me 4 of them, and that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, Johnny had a stash of them, so I would say get it with him.
Yeah. I looked at my dealer.
He got me onto those.
My dealer actually still has 100 or so of them made in the USA, still in stock. So
yeah. Well, I knew they were OEMs because they were all together, and you just tear them off. It was kind of nice.
So we were talking about aftermarket parts. So James, with generators, do they make aftermarket parts, and how is the quality and longevity of them on the generator side?
Well, I think you'd have to go OEM on everything.
I try to rebuild all the OEM carbs. I rarely try a clone, but like today, I'm working on a Mikuni. I need a new needle, $35.
I know.
I'm not gonna do it. So I actually ordered a clone carb for $25. I'm like,
I know.
Even if it lasts 2 years, the Mikuni lasted 10. So I could buy 4 of the clones, stick me on a shelf, and be fine. So.
And your customer is going to leave it, and it'll just clog off with ethanol evaporated goo anyway.
That's a good point.
Also, I've had a bad carburetor OEM, and I've also had a not so great aftermarket carburetor. And I will make one. I will rebuild the OEM with the aftermarket, and it works. So
that's what I was just about to say to James. James, take the needle out of the cheap carburetor and stick it into the Mikuni original, and you're good.
I've got Mikunis on both. I've got Mikunis on both my John Deere tractors.
That would work. Sorry,
go ahead. No,
I was saying that would work.
Yep. It would. On the generators, do you take apart the generators and repair stators and stuff too?
Oh, yes, he does.
I have not watched a lot of your videos.
Yeah, I don't rewind stuff. I don't have that kind of time. But yeah, I'll take them apart. If it's fixable, I'll fix it. I'll swap out engines and stators and combine two generators into one sometimes,
Right. Good for you. I have such a hard time separating the generators from the engines. I just get so frustrated.
You gotta watch them use the water trick, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
We used to do it with grease, like when you're doing a pilot bushing on a clutch on a small block Chevy. You can't get the pilot bearing out, so you use a little grease. Same thing with the generators when you're trying to get the rotor out. He puts water in there and it works.
Not only.
Well, now, the only internal stuff to generators I've worked on was a 2 megawatt generator the day I retired, right?
Oh, yeah. You have power plants for a city, Bruce.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, it was on, I was an equipment installer for the telephone company, but I didn't do phones. We did the background, the big, huge commercial stuff. And half of that stuff is DC power backup with generators on the roof. And the other half is the electronic stuff when your cell phone quits or whatever. That's, when you can't call your mom or whatever. That, it's half of it's equipment in a really expensive stuff in a building.
Bruce, a friend of mine worked in the phone company. He actually worked in the battery room.
Yeah, that's where I worked. Yeah.
And it was humming all day. It was like bus bars humming. Yeah. And then his friend worked in the repeater station, and it was
we did both.
And all you hear all day long, click, 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 click. Yeah, all day long. Yeah. It was the long distance room where whenever you did long distance, you used a repeater. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they call it the toll room, right? Yep. And you only heard something when there was no noise.
Yep.
Like if everything, you looked at your partner and you went, and but it didn't happen very often because you'd have to write a letter to your boss. 20,000 people were without service. It was a great job. 34 years of it, never missed it. They even offered me money to stay, but I had to get away. I was aging and it was physically demanding. Like those batteries are 300 pounds each and they're only 2 volts.
Yep.
And then you put 24 of them in series. And then you put 6 strings together and you have a 6,000 amp bus bar that's this tall and that thick, right? Yep. Like a half an inch thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were humming all day long. We'd walk up there. We'd see the acid bubbling inside the clear tanks. You'd see the acid charging, and you'd hear the bus bars humming.
But it's the same technology as the little battery I just took out of my tractor. I take it, I do a hydrometer reading on the acid, and charge it up 2.2 volts per cell and make sure it's charging at 14. It's the same technology, just little or big.
Now, in Canada, because of these batteries are sealed now, so you really can't even open them up easily.
You can open them.
Half the batteries.
It's a conservative effort.
Half the batteries at the phone company are still the old lead acid, and half of them are now installing them. That's why I have a bad back, right? I was an equipment installer, and sometimes you had a portable chain hoist, which happens to be I paid for the one in my shop, but I love my shop now because I was working out of a truck for 34 years, and I had to carry everything, and now I can put it in my truck, and I don't do road calls.
Good.
So James, refresh my memory. With the latest hurricane that we had, did you guys get affected by that or no?
Which one? East
to east? Like east or whatever. I don't want to butcher it.
No. It was east to east was the one that hit us pretty hard. Which is great. I sold every generator I had. Now.
So even after that, what are the prices of generators by you, running and non-running?
Good question.
Are they still high, running and non-running, or are they starting to average down a little bit?
No, it's been slow. At this time of year, it seems like, when after a storm, people realize they don't work and they just go out and buy a new generator. They're not going to drop it off and wait a week. So a lot of people dumped stuff after that, but the prices are still high. People are asking sometimes more than they were new, and they're 10 years old. So, but some people don't. So you just got to look.
Yeah.
If they need it, they'll buy it. No matter the price.
I don't think anyone's buying them, but they're asking.
I think the last time I hopped on with Ken, I just happened to squiggle away Generac 7500 for $100. The guy had it up for sale for $250 for the longest time, and he finally, accepted my offer. And then because of your channel, I'm like, let me try and get something else. A person posted a 17,000 Generac whole house generator that they took apart with the generator head. It needed everything rewound. He said everything was discontinued, and he wanted $800 for it. I'm like, oh my God, no way.
No way. No
And
way.
I remember-
1800?
No,
1800? Oh, 800.
and I remember you saying that the heads are really expensive and Generac parts in general are expensive. And this guy didn't
Like
want
Kohler.
to divulge any information to me. So I made him an offer of $100. So what's the worst? I get stuck with a motor, and he just didn't want to give me any information. I tried looking up a 17.5 kilowatt head, and they were like $800. So I'm like, that's not bad, but I don't know, because if it's a Generac, that head is specific to a Generac and not something else.
Yeah, and Generac too, their stuff's it's overly complicated. There's a lot of electronics, a lot of boards, a lot of communication going on. So it's not just an engine and a stator and rotor. There's a lot of wiring
Yes,
in there. So
there's a 16-pin Molex connector fitting into a 16-pin Molex connector, and nobody else makes it but Generac.
Yeah.
Or the company that makes it.
When we had that hurricane, I was running around fixing generators and maintaining them, because they were having people running them all day long. So some customers, I was able to lock in a service every other day. I'd go in, stop the generator, change the oil, at least that, give it a quick run through and keep it going. I had one lady calling me, do you work on whole house generators? I says, not really. And she says, well, nothing's running and there's a light and it's flashing and it's buzzing. I'm like, you got to call somebody. That's not me.
Usually anything over around 10,000 watts involves a technician, a computer, and everything else,
Yeah.
Don't you gotta be,
yes,
you gotta
yes
have
and
some
no.
certifications or something for like an electrician or something? Is that what I heard?
For working on a whole house generator.
I got almost any generator.
I have the qualifications, but I would never, ever, ever do it for anybody else than myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't have
something goes wrong.
I am a communications electrician, ticket on the wall, right? But I am not a commercial electrician.
You'd be the first person the lawyer
I'd get sued.
Yeah.
James, what were you saying? I know above 10,000, you were showing one of them. It looked like there was 10 miles of wiring and circuit boards in it. Was that, what size was that one? Was that about 10,000?
It was a 10,000, and the design of that one is actually almost identical to the Generac home backup ones that you'd see, like the 15,000 watt, 20,000 watt. It's the same control board, the same wiring. They've just jammed it into a portable. So I actually helped someone fix one of those, and it's exactly the same thing, but it has a little more technology in it. Like, it had like a field boost circuit. So when you hit start, it would actually power up the rotor and not rely on magnetism, like little extra bells and whistles, but it's pretty much the same.
I like the low idle ones, the ones that do the low idle. I like those.
Yeah, those are good. They're good for construction, but the problem is you can put a few hundred watts on it and it's still going to stay at idle. So like if you plug in some sensitive electronics, your TV, your phone, your laptop, it might be out there humming at, 1800 RPM, putting out half of what it should. And it doesn't kick up.
Yeah. I have a John Deere, but it's made by Coleman, 5,000 watt. And the factory idle is 2,800, and then it kicks up to 3,400 when it's under load. And, like you say, but it might only be putting out 90 volts instead of 120 volts until you need, and with the low voltage, you're still going to run the same wattage. So your current's going to go too high. With 90 volts, your current's going to jump 60%, and you could break. So, I don't know. They're nice for carpenters because they use a 13 amp circular saw, and up they go. And when they're having a coffee on the roof, it doesn't, they idle back down, and that's okay.
Yeah, my neighbor was just asking about that too. Like he lives, actually he's moving, but in his new community they have like a pump house for the whole community. And he wanted to put generator power on it. And he wanted an auto idle one so we could let it just slow down. But I'm like, when that pump comes on, it's just going to stall. It's not going to be able to pick up speed that quickly. So, it's a great feature, but you got to keep in mind, if you're going to put 100% load on it, turn that auto idle off because you're going to stall it.
A lot of those heavy draw places have contactors where they go 30, 60, or 33, 66, and then 100. to bring in the load slower, so you don't port
Yeah.
the generator.
Yeah, we were
or the
talking about
equipment.
that. You can get like capacitor banks too, like even for like HVAC systems, like heat pumps, they'll have like hard start capacitor, so that when it hits that surge, the capacitor will kind of absorb a little bit of that hit, and the generator has time to kind of speed up. Yeah.
I almost feel like almost like a little sales gimmick, per se, but I understand with camping, you want to try and keep things down. But for the most part, I feel like low idle is just, if you're worried about gas, then you shouldn't be owning it in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you know what really
gets me? An inverter generator it can idle right down to 1800 RPM, and you'll still get 120 volts, 60 hertz, and you're saving a ton of gas and noise.
Yeah, inverter,
you're going to pay more.
Big bucks.
You know what? I've had people that are riding around in $80,000 to $150,000 motorhomes, and they're trying to buy a generator for $150. What?
Well, see, that's the way I think I discovered James. I was working on an Onan generator in a motorhome, and if I'm not mistaken, James did a video on that. Where I don't know, James, would you replace the fuel pump or whatever it was?
It was the fuel pump, yeah.
Yeah, this guy wanted me to replace his fuel pump because it was leaking. And I told the guy, "Okay, you're going to drop it out of the motorhome?" He goes, "What?" I said, "I can't get it." I mean, the thing was up underneath his living room inside the motorhome. I said, "I said, how much?" And he wanted it done that same day. He calls me over to the house. It was a proprietary fuel pump, a proprietary screw-on fuel filter, metal fuel filter, and it was a Sunday. He calls me. I go, "Wait. Who the hell's open on a Sunday that sells Onan RV generator parts? And you want it done when?"
It's very difficult. Like that was one of the first ones I fixed. That was probably the first video I made, and getting the fuel filters for it, getting that oil filter, like you said.
It was exactly the same video that you did. Exactly.
Yep. And as you point out, you want to service it, you better uninstall it from the RV, because even changing a spark plug, I don't think I could do it. It's just it's too in there. It's packed.
Yeah. But he wanted it done that day. It was a Sunday. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's going to take me a week to get parts.
But
they're like, with you. You don't understand.
Then you could have got a really good penny for that.
Oh, I probably could have got $1,000 because he literally wanted to hit the road that night and drive out to like Arizona to meet his daughter or something, Oh, I gotta go. Well, then you shouldn't have, I said, you know what? Put the rags in there, and every few miles, change the rags out so you don't catch fire, So.
Should have got him a gravity-fed tank. Just put it on the roof, lying down.
Yeah.
No, you could have spent $1,000, bought an EU 2000 or whatever, and stuck it in the back.
Stuck it underneath. Yeah. Well, that's how it is here. We had a bad cold snap 3 weeks ago, right? And then it warmed up to 50 for you guys, 50, 55 for 2 weeks, melted all the snow off. Tomorrow we're getting a foot of snow.
Really?
Yes. Oh, wow. I've got a repaired snowblower in my garage, ready to go for the customer, right? And I phoned them up tonight, and they said, Larry, we're getting a foot of snow tomorrow. And he's a hunter and a butcher, and he's busy, right? This time of year, he's going full speed. He said, "What?" So they're coming tomorrow to pick up the snowblower in the middle of a blizzard.
So tomorrow, go on Mix and open up your door so we can see it.
I will. Right.
You need to drive those crazy snowblowers up north.
There isn't a flake on the ground. There's not a flake on the ground right now.
Well,
and
a lot.
And tomorrow we're going to get a foot tomorrow.
Well, I think up in Canada, a couple of my subscribers want me to put my airings. You guys have like a snowblower competition up there. They said I got to enter it, but the missing this year, if we don't get any snow, she says we got to load up the truck and just take this machine someplace and just let it.
Where you can use it?
Yeah, and just get some good footage. I mean, I have way too much money into this. I have way too much time because, it's an Ariens, and I really went out of my way to make it almost look factory. So
right. I did that with my old John Deere 8 years ago, but it doesn't look new anymore.
Hey, I remember for business one time I had to go to Portland, Maine when we had snow. And literally the sidewalks in Portland, Maine, you're walking on the sidewalk and there's 9 feet of snow on either side of you. They actually have machines that will tunnel and make like the sidewalks clear. And then every football field in every school in the area is where they dump their snow, because they're not allowed to put it in the ocean because of the salt and everything else. So, and it doesn't melt until like April, May.
I'm surprised they don't have a melting machine.
They do have melting machines, but then where does it go, Jason? Like New York City, it would it all into the sewer, then it was going into the East River. You can't.
There isn't a patch of grass to suck it up.
Yeah. But amazing how
real quick
that know how to deal with it. Like if you go, James, you probably know I-90, like the Mass Pike or New York State Thruway up that way. It is a beautiful road in the winter. It's perfectly clear because they're not afraid of it. They know what to do, and they just keep it clean.
Right. Yeah. Places like North Carolina, when they get a little bit of snow, they have to shut the whole cities down. Right.
I worked in Charlotte when we had an ice storm, Bruce, and it shut the whole damn town down. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're getting a foot tomorrow, and everybody's just going to be a little more careful.
Well, I was going to say a foot. So what? The kids going to be an hour delay for school, right? With a foot.
Right. You know? But now that I'm, you know what? Now that I'm older, I just don't go. Don't have to, right?
So we have a guy at Bruce. I call him a legend, and every snowstorm we get, he calls in. He's retired, like yourself. He'll call in, "Hey, what? I'm not coming in today." Like that's like his joke.
I save vacation days so I could play in the snow. I literally do, because I love playing in the snow. I do. Whether it's with a plow or with a snowblower, I love playing in the snow.
My poor wife has no cold weather habits, and we usually go to Mexico for 3 months, and we're not going this year because of COVID and all that stuff.
We got drunk the last time you went.
Yeah, we did. We got drunk in the afternoon.
And then you came home to snow, right, Bruce?
Yeah. Well, we got ordered home. We came on a rescue flight out of Puerto Vallarta in 2 weeks before we were supposed to come home, and it was been kind of a downer since we got home, man. Like, you know, just because of COVID.
Yeah.
It's all blah,
hey, just real quick.
We're getting too much of COVID.
Yeah. Gotta go. I'll catch you guys in the next live.
Okay,
I might be on mix tomorrow or something. Okay. And
all right.
I just picked up my first Glock 45. So that's gonna be interesting.
You know what?
Happy shooting.
I have 9 long guns, right? And I've never held a pistol, because we have pretty heavy regulations on pistols up here. But I mean, Canada was built on the long gun, right? I mean, 200 years ago, you died without one. Well, wild meat and all that stuff. So, yeah. Well, good luck. Enjoy your 9mm. Tell us about it tomorrow.
Hey, Bruce, have you ever seen a moose up there where you are?
Oh yeah. My buddy Larry is picking up the snowblower. He shot a moose on Monday.
Wow. No, I mean like in the road, like you're driving, all of a sudden, like remember that enclosure, and they're walking.
You know what? They will kill you because they're very top heavy. The legs flip out and they'll take the cab right off the car.
Wow.
Because it's like hitting a horse at 100 kilometers, 60 miles an hour. They're bad. Wow. They're dangerous. Yeah. I did clip one. I just clipped his back leg one time. I was full locked up, tires all screaming, and she was just moving off, and I just clipped her back leg, and she went one way and I went the other.
You clipped her in the Chevy or no?
Pardon me? No, this was way back in
so you had a years ago car.
Yeah. I was coming home in the work car.
Oh, perfect. So now, what kind of snowblower do you have? Or is your snowblower?
I got 2. I got a John Deere Ariens, which is a 1978, and then I've got a newer one, which is a Craftsman, whatever. But it's got a 5-horse Tecumseh, probably made by Ariens as well. Ariens frame.
It's probably MTD though, isn't it?
It might be. It's pretty old, but the old John Deere is on points, right? So it's got to be before 81 or 82, 81. And then when you look on the serial number, the 5th digit's a 5. So it has to be a 75, not an 85.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I still love the John Deere 1032s. I love those things.
My wife I showed you guys, my wife made me drive that estate to pick up a John Deere 1032.
Well, you know what? Mine's an 832, and it's got an 8 horsepower engine, and it's not quite powerful enough.
I was
like when it's really honking, it slows down. I just have to go slow. But if I had the 10 horse, I had a 10 horse on there, that'd be good.
What are you waiting for?
Well, it's kind of like an old car, It's just perfect.
Bruce,
every part, it's like numbers correct.
Bruce, is that a single shaft or dual shaft engine?
Okay.
Is that a single shaft or dual shaft engine on that?
Single shaft, and then there's the inside pulley runs the wheels, and the front pulley runs the auger.
Because if you need a 10 horse Tecumseh, I could make you up something really hot.
I know, but it'd cost you $950 to ship it to me.
Yeah, road trip. I'll bring the patés with me. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, well, I have a 10 horsepower on her John Deere 1032, and I'm not restoring it for her because I want to V-twin swap it, and she wants to keep it matching numbers. And we
look at the recoil starter on that 1032. They get like $150 for that recoil starter. That cast starter is expensive.
Right.
Just the plastic pulley in that 10 horse recoil starter, $70.
I would convert it to electric start before. Well, it has electric start.
Are you guys familiar with Dave Ackerman? He's just starting out. His name is Dave Ackerman.
Oh yeah.
He lives down in the flat land. He's got the longest driveway on earth, literally. And he went in and he put a gas tank and electric start because mine was a pull start. And he sent the starter and the tank to me. And I think it cost him $70 to ship that. That was very nice. Very nice, though.
So, James, what do you got for a snowblower?
Me?
It's a Toro.
No.
It's a Toro.
Toro. Right on.
What is it? I forget which one. It's Tecumseh. Decent machine. It's probably about not as old as yours. It's only about 20 years old.
Right.
Yep. That's
probably the prime time. What do you got?
I've got 521.
521. Very nice. Very nice.
Probably what I've got.
So now, Gene,
I have two of them because I get them cheap. The Toro, the 521. People figure 5 horse isn't enough. You know what, guys? You put on the rubber paddle trick like you do, Jason, every time. Mm-hmm. I'm throwing snow on my neighbor's roof.
I've got paddles on the John Deere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the 5 horse, I'll tell you, the Toro augers are scary. Because they got those big augers with the auger itself is like a trash can. It's like a trash can with teeth. It's unbelievable. It chops up anything.
Now, James, how long have you had your snowblower for?
That one was new in 2004, so not quite 20.
That's new.
So before you got into small engine repair, basically. Correct.
Oh yeah. It was well before I got into small.
So but it would be an overhead valve Tecumseh. That's kind of rare.
No, it should be a flatty. It should be a flatty.
Is it a flathead or an overhead valve?
Flathead.
Okay. That's about when they switched. That's about when they
started.
They went out of business in 08.
Okay, so now that you're familiar with small engines, do you see yourself repowering or upgrading, or you're just going to keep it just the way it is?
I'm not into snowblowers because it has
I'm just curious.
I actually did pick up what I thought was a nice snapper snowblower a few years ago. It had like the electric chute, and but it had a Briggs engine. It had no throttle control, just full speed all the time. It had a few little things where they cheaped out on it, and I just wasn't sure. I didn't want to keep it. I'd take the old Toro over the newer one, so I kept the old one.
Yeah,
those Briggs
a lot better.
Nothing but trouble. Those Briggs snow engines, nothing but trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the snow. They're called a Snow King. Is that what they're called? Yeah.
No, Tecumseh had the Snow King, and then Powermore or one of those companies bought out the name.
Something King.
Yeah. Briggs has something with snow in it. I have to look. I have one on my shelf.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah. I bought one for $40 brand new because the little stupid aluminum drain valve broke off, for the oil drain. So I just used an easy out, and then I just put a bolt in. That's how cheap they are. I just
You're lucky. We don't get deals like that around here. We do.
See, that's what I love about the Tecumseh snow engines. They always have that nice long 3/8 nipple where all you got to do is tilt the thing back and drain the oil out.
I used my oil sucker on the one I fixed for my friend Larry. I used my new extractor.
Which one do you have, Bruce? The pump one?
Not yet. It's got the external pump, and it's a 9 liter. It's a 9 liter.
Oh, wow.
9 quarts.
I love mine. I have the one too. Jason, you have an electric one, right? You use electric one.
I did test it though, and it still leaves about 2 tablespoons of oil in the bottom, which is the important to.
So it's like funny. So I guess it's getting snow. So I've been getting a lot of action on my snowblower videos, and there's a Husqvarna snowblower video I have out. And you see that snowblower is a little bit over $1,000 new, and they give you that short little drain plug, and no matter how you slice it, you have to make a mess.
Gonna make a mess.
And that says the first thing he wants to do.
No, you know what you do? No. You know what you do? And I have a video on this too, but with a leaf blower. When you have that little pipe plug in there that you're going to make a mess over everything, you tilt it up, okay? Then you take a little funnel, like those little yellow funnels, the real small ones, and you stick it in the hole. It'll seal. Then you tilt it back over. It'll drain down the funnel and into your drain pan.
Okay. The guy's like, I can't wait to extend the drain plug on this. And I'm like,
usually when you extend it, though, the tire's right there. You know, then you got to do an elbow and a 90. And you know what I really like, though? The Briggs on their bigger engines have that hose with the fitting with the 90 degree.
Yeah, I love that. I've seen that actually.
I love that.
Yeah. Generac does that too on their 10,000 EXL. It's just a hose. Put it down, take the cap off, comes right out. Maybe a little too easy.
I like that.
Well, that's like that. If the clip fails, you're screwed because then you got a puddle.
Yeah. Well, it's like that crazy STX38. It's got that little push and pull oil release on the bottom of it, on that 12 and a half Kohler command self-destruct.
Bruce,
my Kohler has that.
Those always loosen up.
Yeah. But even like on the Briggs I have on the snowblower, and even the big reefer units at work, and they're powered by Yanmars, they have the oil hose, but that oil hose is threaded in. It's not C-clipped in.
All right. Now, Thomas, the only reason I allowed you up here is because I know you got a lot of stuff to say. So I'm going to give the channel to you for the next minute. So ready? You're on. See,
Jason, I hate Aaron.
You want to tell everybody why your Arians wouldn't start this season?
Wait, I thought Thomas was deaf mute for like 2 years, and then I finally heard him talk. He usually just sits there like, hey.
No, he's active on Instagram. He likes to message me on Instagram. So go ahead, tell the panel, why wouldn't your Arian snowblower start this year?
Because you forgot to drain the old gas.
Oh, okay. And you were saying you had nothing but problems with your Arian snowblower? And what did I say?
It's a piece of shit.
Hey, language.
He's got the deluxe too, right? Don't you have the deluxe
panel?
Yeah, he's got the good one too, the deluxe.
We can tell that it's operating error and it's not an Arian's error. And don't forget, Arians doesn't make the
machine. There's a difference.
Arians doesn't make the engine either, so you can't chalk up engine-related issues to Arians. They just make the frame.
You know, though, I do think though that like on the John Deeres, there is a different run on the engines than let's say a standard run-of-the-mill garden variety MTD.
I'll give you. There is. I know a guy that worked in John Deere in the Horicon plant. Okay, there is definitely a difference in the engines when you have the ones that are sold by the box stores and the ones that are sold at dealers. The metal is thinner in the castings. The metal on the wear edges is thinner. There is differences. People will deny it. Oh, they're made in the same assembly plant. Yes, they are. But there's different engines coming from different areas, different coming from different areas. You get what you pay for. Don't go to a box store. If you're going to buy a real one, go to the dealer.
So
even the C-clips are thicker and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, really.
So people are saying that, but I know, like I've spoken with Arians myself, and they says that, you know, every machine that you buy from Arians, whether you get it at a dealer or a big box store, it's all the same. It just
Arians is true. No problem with Arians.
But I'm talking about the old days now.
Yeah. So they were saying it just comes down to what do you want customer service wise? Do you want, you know, a Joe Schmo assembling your snowblower at Home Depot, or you want to have a trained technician or whatever, or somebody who knows what they're doing with a wrench in their hand, put your machine together from the factory?
You know, I was over at the John Deere dealer here a little while ago buying some parts for me, and I found they have a steel dealership, and the little tiny steel 130 or 133 or something, the little tiny 14-inch bar steel, you know, beginner's off. It's made in China.
Oh, okay. And so basically what Aaron said to me is that
orange and white.
Home Depot and Lowe's and all the big box stores, they're only allowed to sell certain models. And then if you want something else, then you would have to go to a dealer. So basically, a dealer could sell every make and model Ariens has. A big box store can't. But I encourage everybody all the time. I says you need to really buy from a dealer. Because I've gotten snowblowers right off the bat, and they have issues, and they try and bring it to a dealer. And because they didn't buy it from them, they give them a runaround, which is wrong.
Well, yes and no. But here's the thing, Jason. One thing I found that's different. My daughter worked at Home Depot for like 2-3 years before she started working with me. And one thing I found, she worked in tool rental and all these different areas and stuff. When they put together snowblowers at Home Depot and Lowe's, the mistake they make, the number one mistake they make, is they tighten the damn drive disc cable 10 times tighter than it needs to be, and it wears out the rubber in like the first season.
Or it just pulls apart.
Oh, it pulls apart.
And so everything,
you're supposed to adjust it so that it grabs a 1/2 inch from the handle, and you have a 1/2 inch of spring load.
It just hangs there. It just hangs there like that.
An inch. It's crazy. Yeah.
My old John Deere's, a 1978, are in that. I really can't age it, and all of the controls are bars. They don't stretch. They don't wear out. They work, but there's no safety on it. Like there's even a click on the drive with a button to hold the little
how about all the micro switches on the 1032s, Bruce? The 1032 I work on has 4 micro switches. You got to have it a certain way just to start it.
Just the safety. I hate them. I want to bypass them all.
Those black levers with a micro switch. They're real micro switches too.
Yep. I keep telling her you'd make my life so much easier if you would just V-twin swap it, because I want to put a V-twin on the Ariens that I have now. And I wanted to keep this Ariens factory because it's part of
I should put that big Kohler K241 on my John Deere.
There you go.
And if I was to put a V-twin on there, it just wasn't the look I was going for.
I bet you that 10 horse Kohler is probably strong.
Yeah. And then
Bruce, quick story, Bruce. I had my first engine I ever rebuilt, 10 horse Kohler K241 in an old Cub Cadet, International Harvester Cub Cadet. I had a contest with a kid down the street who had a Simplicity 23 horsepower Vanguard. I had a chain between my tractor and his tractor in the street, and I pulled him up the road like it was nobody's business. Because you know what it's all about? Inertia, baby. You got a cast iron flywheel versus a little teeny aluminum flywheel. Mine's pumping at 2,000 RPM. He's at like 4,000 because he doesn't have the inertia because he doesn't have any mass. I got this huge cast iron flywheel. I'm pulling him all day long.
Yeah, so when the old tractors, let's say they had 110 horsepower, and you get a new tractor, like I'm talking big tractors, and you get a new tractor with 200 horsepower. I actually think that the one with the 110 horsepower would probably.
Oh, it's got more torque. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
what
does horsepower? What does horsepower mean?
Horsepower doesn't do anything. It's torque.
Torque.
So,
it's interesting.
And by the way, sorry we interrupted you, Thomas.
James, what were you saying, buddy?
No, I was just pricing out some generator engines on eBay, and they had a Tecumseh generator engine, 11 horsepower, brand new in box, $118.
That's a steal.
Buy it.
Wrong bullpen. Can't use it. But
bullpen.
The next one they had on there, $175. Briggs Vanguard 13 horse engine, and it's bigger than I need, but I pulled up the data sheet. I'm looking at it all, and it's only rated at like 11 horsepower in the Briggs documentation, but they advertise it as a 13, which I don't.
No, but isn't that the foot-pounds torque per gigajoules or something? It's
now they got to do it all by torque, and it's ridiculous.
See, that's when you've got in trouble. But you know what? I meant to tell you, one of my subscribers says, hey, man, you should buy, because they don't like to repower stuff, instead of opening things up, because to me, it's just not worth it. I think there was a company selling 10 horsepower generator engines, I think for like $120. And I was going to bully them and see how much they would sell them for all and try and resell them.
If you see generator engines,
you can't compete with Harbor. You can't compete with Harbor Freight because that's all they are, is a Harbor Freight engine.
But But the
No.
generators have that tapered shaft, so you'd actually have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, the tapered shaft is the problem. Yeah, I have very
Right.
limited choices.
Most of the guys I know are taking those tapered shaft engines and welding stuff up to them and grinding off the weld and getting it.
Yep.
Oh, I don't have any problem with that. Like,
I see the guy do it with a file.
Yeah,
I
right.
saw a guy do it with a file. He started the engine up,
and
he got a
I'm
big
still
factor file, and he just filed it down to half of it was straight.
I'm still thinking of taking that Kohler down to a 1 inch from a 1 1/8 because I only have to take a 16th off each side, right?
No, hey, hey, take a with the die grinder, Bruce, a die grinder and a nice disc, and just
wait, hold. Why don't you guys do a collab video where you send him the engine and then he'll put it to use?
Because we live 2,468 miles apart.
Meet in the middle.
Yeah, just write it off on your YouTube page. Check. That's all.
Hey, James.
The content creation fund.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, James, but I'm a 9-hour drive north of Helena, Montana. Think about that.
That's a long drive.
That's right. We got moose up here.
Well, we have moose here. Well, not where I am, but there's moose in
north of it.
New Hampshire, Maine.
Yeah.
They come down.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're good eating. They're good eating. They're really, really good eating. They're, if you get a younger one, if you get an older one, it's like a 2,000-pound duck. But it's ethical to eat it. My grandfather was a fish and wildlife officer, and he's strict. He was strict. One bullet. None of this.
You
bang, bang, bang.
You do moose in the hamburger form or like a steak form, or
we do. Well, I don't. I've never shot a moose. I'm a deer hunter, but it's mostly roasts and hamburger, and if you want, you make sausage of it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Bruce, I see the racks hanging in your garage. Do you get a couple of tickets every year and go out, or what?
I haven't been out for about 4 or 5 years now, and I don't know if it's an age thing or if I've gotten so into my YouTube and my engines that I'm just busy. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I like to go right at the end of November. The animals are the big bucks are moving. There's a controversy. You shouldn't shoot trophies, but because it culls the herd of the quality of the herd down. But there's not that many guys that get the big bucks, so it works out pretty good. And up here, there's lots of them. I mean, I drove home from Rocky Mountain House, which is an hour away, last night at 7 o'clock at night. It had just gotten dark, and you can see the eyes in the ditch. And I was like,
they want to jump out.
They'll take you right out.
You probably see 15 animals on a 1 hour drive, 7 o'clock at night. Scary. But I don't mind hunting. I don't have any problem with it. If people think it's mean, they should go to a slaughterhouse and watch pigs get slaughtered. Or a chicken factory. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny you talk about that, Bruce. I was watching a video. There's a guy on there. I think it's called Western Tractor Repair or something like that. He's out in the Midwest somewhere. He does all kinds of like heavy equipment repair. His dog, he had to repair a tractor that was outside of a slaughterhouse. His dogs would not come out of the cab. He said this. They smelled the death, and they would not come out of the truck.
I had a job when I was with the communications company because we have a slaughterhouse here that employs 2,000 people, and I had to go into the kill floor through the kill floor to get to the communications room.
Come on, buddy.
They have a high-speed internet connection in the building, and it had to be repaired. And I walked through the kill floor, and like, hey, man, I think hunting is way more humane than anything I saw in there.
Yep. No, a friend of mine showed me one of those pin guns, where the pin comes out in the forehead or whatever, and I was like, whoa, that's not humane. I don't care.
It's an air-driven bolt. Eh?
Yeah, that's all it is. Well, it's funny. My friends of mine say, you hunt and this and that. And I go, where do you think the food comes from? People, I mean, I don't know. What's the old saying? Animals, you're not, the reason God made them out of meat is so you can eat them or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the environmentalists are the ones that should be arrested because they're eating the food that our food eats.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'm not, or the vegetarians, I'm saying, right? like vegetarians eat
Bruce,
the food.
Do you butcher yourself, Bruce, or what?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because a deer is only boned out 120 pounds, maybe maximum. So it's not that bad.
So you got the second freezer in the basement or in the garage? Just
downstairs, one freezer.
That's how you tell a true hunter. They have the big freezer.
Yeah, I know. But it's okay. I was taught to do it properly and ethically. Permission on the land, and you don't take your truck in until you shoot something, so you don't leave tracks everywhere. It's all good. It's okay. It's right up.
Absolutely. All right, I think I'm going to end it here, guys. We're coming up on almost 2 hours. That was a pretty good stream. Actually, we had some
good stream. Unexpected.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So anyway,
problems with YouTube, and William messaged us and says, "Hey man, Ken's going live tonight. Jump on." I'm like, "All right, we'll do it."
Right. That was good of him to do that. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that in one of my video comments too.
He's like one of my biggest fans right now, William.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's okay. I just got to get to that stupid 1,000. I don't know what the heck's going on. Like I said, I bought a laptop. I did buy a laptop, so now I could buy the software.
Okay.
And content.
Yes. Videos consistently. Like if you do a video every Wednesday at 6 a.m.
Yep.
Even put a few in the bank. Schedule them, get them going, and then people will know that hey, well, what's Wednesday morning? Yeah, Ken's on. And if you happen to find out you're in conflict with somebody else, move your video to 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and build a time. And it's been 8 years for me, and the first 3 years were zeros, right? So now I have 35,000 subs.
There you go.
You know what? How about this? What made you want to start a YouTube channel?
Who?
Way back. Bruce,
me?
One of the OG.
I was.
Camera.
It was even. I was using the laptop camera, but from an old laptop. And, I fixed a rototiller, one of those horse tillers, the big red ones.
Yep.
And the guy blew the engine. He only had a little 5-horse on it, a 5-horse Tecumseh. And so I took the engine apart, and the piston wasn't going up and down. So I just sent him a 15-second video on email because that's all I had. I didn't have YouTube, nothing. And I thought, that's kind of like YouTube. So I signed up and started filming with my little, laptop on the, and it was even a small laptop, one of those little netbooks. And, that's what I started with. And then right away I bought a camera, just $100 Olympus with HD. And that's all you need. I think Mussy doesn't use much more than that to this day. He just uses a cheap little camera like I do. No external mics, nothing fancy, nothing. And that's how I got going, and I registered myself. And back then, you had to make $100 before you started getting paid, right? So it was a little smaller wall to climb. Now you need 1,000 subscribers, which I think is much more difficult than earning $100 for it.
Yeah, you need 1,000 subs and 4,000 viewing hours. So I had 4,000 viewing hours.
I've got almost 5,000 hours. I've got the hours.
Yeah.
It took me, like I said, it took me over a year to get 1,000 subs.
So I try it like Dave Ackerman and you can, and all the guys here now, and I'll start. How many subs do you have, James?
I'm approaching 20,000.
Oh, well, you're up there. You're going.
Yeah, don't forget, James is super.
But anybody with a new channel, I promote them, and like if I'm doing something oddball, like snowblowers. Dave Ackerman's a snowblower guru, right?
Oh yeah,
and I've been working on getting him. He's up to 700 now, and and I got a new friend here in town. His name is Steve, and he's got too many interests. He's doing a 56 Mercury truck, and then he does a barbecue outside the trailer, and then he does a this and a that. And I say to him, man, you're gonna have to just focus on maybe that 56. Focus on the 56 Mercury or something, so that people will come back.
James, are you monetized, James, or no?
No, I'm not, and it's a little complicated because my employer, the one who actually pays me good money, there's conflicts of interest, outside business, all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so at some point I'll monetize, hopefully before I retire. But even then,
all the views that you could get on all your videos, because you got a shitload of them. I mean, you could probably do pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could. It would definitely pay for some tools and some, some fun stuff, but definitely couldn't live off it. yet,
Yeah.
but in the future, yeah, maybe.
But James, with all your videos and subs and everything, have you ever gotten an email or contacted by a company to want you to try stuff out?
I get
I
2
have.
a week now.
I have. I don't know if you see back there. I've got some Super Clean. I think they send stuff to everybody, but it works.
Okay, I've been
You know,
I know I get 2 offers a week. Anything from promote our measuring scoops to the plastic Snow Joe cordless snow blowers that run out. The battery runs out in 5 seconds. That kind of stuff. I'm taking the same path as Musty. I'm not doing any promotions. I'm not taking any product. I'm not doing, but I don't, that's my decision. Dave Aikman, he did the power clean and he's doing some other stuff.
Everybody's doing power clean, right?
Yeah, but it's more of it's kind of almost a Canadian thing, like, no, son of a bitch, I'm just going to do this on my own, like our emblem's a beaver, right? You work all summer to hide all winter. And but I don't know. I don't have any problem if anybody does it. I kind of enjoy watching the guys do their displays.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing too. Like if it's something I can use,
yes,
then I'll use it. But if someone says, "Hey, can you do a whole section of your video on this product and blah blah blah," it's like no.
Hey, if Chevrolet called me and said, "Hey, there'll be a 2021 Silverado in your driveway if you do a demo," okay.
Well, maybe, that would change my mind. But yeah, if it's a useful thing, I'll try it. But it's weird. This is the first time I've accepted anything like this, and I feel guilty. Like, do I have to say it in every video? Super, that's not me. I don't like doing that. I don't do commercials.
The ones I like are the ones where the guys actually, they like parts of it, but they don't like this. The handle could be this way or whatever. I like a critical one. I don't necessarily, they don't. I like it. I don't like it when they say everything's good about the product, because that means they're just sucking up.
Yeah.
Well, that's just
funny. I was watching Henry the other day, and he was actually honest, saying, if it sucks, I'll tell you it sucks, and
remember, he was sponsored by Stable, and he gave Stable their products a bad review, and they gave him the boot.
Of course, that's not what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's not what they're looking for. So and
I think it's where you live. Like out here, I haven't had any luck with Seafoam, but I have had some luck with Stable, right? Mm-hmm. So, but we live in a dry climate, so I think Seafoam's better, like down by the lake, maybe the big lakes in the United States.
But you have to use
it's more humid.
It's supposed to be used.
Now, have you seen Tyrell's 10-engine test?
Oh, we just talked about that.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. Yeah. You know what? The ones that seems to be performing the best is the True Fuel right out of the can, 87 octane, no ethanol.
Yeah.
Leave it. And I can get 87 ethanol here I can get 87 octane with no ethanol here. Still get it.
So, but like,
87 has more energy too. Like, I always thought you should use it.
It burns faster. The less octane.
Well, that's why you don't have to retard the timing as far as a higher octane fuel.
The thing is, like with us, it's logistically, it's not sound for me to run ethanol because it's too far to get it cheap, and the one too close is $10 a gallon. So for you to run ethanol free, how is that Canadian wise to acquire that? Is it
we're paying? It's the same, right? Some of the gas stations have ethanol and some don't. So I buy mine at the co-op, and it sounds expensive right now for you guys. It's 95 cents a liter, but that's 95 Canadian. So it'd be about 75 cents a liter US.
Mm-hmm.
75 cents a quart. So what's that add up to?
So 4.3.
Yeah, it'd be about $2.80 or $3 a gallon. Which would probably be a lot for you guys, but still.
Yeah, but in a small engine, though, it's cheap. I mean, look at you're paying what, $5-6 for a quart.
I use the same fuel in my pickup.
I would be out of business if they had ethanol-free gas around here. I'm just saying right now.
Well, I know, but you know what? All my customers, I can try and convince them, and the only machines that I see are the ones that people don't pay attention, and those same machines just keep coming back, and they keep coming back, and I tell them, use ethanol fuel. Yeah, and they leave, and then that's clogged up next fall, and they bring it back.
I have 2 snowblowers out of 3 here that are here for fuel-related issues, and I keep notes. And they were here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can leave mine outside for 6 months. Like from my LX 178 is now not going to be used until probably May, right, or April. And I did not drain the fuel. I just let it go, and I'm going to see if that starts next year. Put the battery in and crank it, and see if it goes, because there's no ethanol in it.
Yeah, very, very. I'd be out of a job. About 98% of my problems.
Well, yeah.
I'm the clean queen.
Aren't we all? Look at how much ethanol has taught us all.
Yeah. But it's good.
It is. Anyway, guys, I should go. Because,
all right. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so I think I'm going to hit it. So anyway,
this is longer than your regular live.
This is Mrs. P's computer, so I gotta get offline, give the computer back to her. I do need, cameras are cheap. I should get one for. I've got a big gaming computer that I use for my videos, and I don't game, right? But I bought a gaming computer for my videos. They're fast. They're fast. So anyway, I gotta get a camera.
I want to say thank you to everyone except for Thomas because he doesn't talk. But anyway, James, thanks for showing up. Pate, is always a pleasure. Brucey, love you. All right, and even you, Thomas, have a good afternoon or evening.
Nice to see you, Thomas.
All right, guys.
And James, I better go on your channel. I better sub for you, eh?
Pate tomorrow, 8 a.m. Be there. We'll see you tomorrow.
James,
Jason, anything?
You got to figure out how to monetize that 20,000K. You got to figure that out, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sure I could do it, but it's just a whole can of worms I don't want to open right now. Maybe when I hit 100.
Talk to the boss.
There you go. Jason, so what are you talking about?
You know what? You can get written permission for stuff like that because I worked for 2 companies at once at the same time, and they were not in competition. They were in alliance with each other, and they said no problem. So talk to them. That 20,000 subscribers would be a decent, small check every month. Small check.
So I'll be honest with. I know Wildlife will kill me. So I'll give you my.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Really?
No, don't tell us. No. I don't want to know.
All I can say is
quick one. I know a guy who's got 100,000 subscribers. Okay, and he's pulling in $2,500 a month. Okay.
Yep.
With all the ads and this and that. The only thing his customers don't like is that they don't like where the ads are because he lets YouTube put the ads where they want. And it breaks up videos, and he don't like that, Well,
but I picked a thing where, please put the ad in where there's a break. Now I'll have, when I make a video, there's 10 small sections, and their software is good enough to pick a break, and that's where my ads usually go.
Okay. What do you do? Black screen for 2 seconds?
No, they just plow right in. No, I don't do a black screen, but they know when there's a break. Like I always make a joke now about lunchtime, and then there's a break, and screen going, and then there's a commercial, and then
that's interesting. I handpick my ads. I space them out. I let YouTube do it for me, and I have ads.
How do you? I know this video. We're talking, but how do you find the time? I'm on YouTube, and I'm full blast in the garage, in here editing full. But I got 35,000 subscribers, so it takes me an hour and a half to answer comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I can't do Instagram, and I can't do Twitter, and I don't have time for all of the other who's it's and what's it's, man. I'm full going already. I'm busy enough. It's just YouTube.
Yeah. So like with work and everything else going on, we're going through a couple of changes at work. I've been very absentee on Instagram and YouTube myself. But we've also had computer issues as well. So we're talking about a gaming computer. We've had issues with our Apple, and Apple's been very good to us. We finally figured out what the issue is. But you want to know what they recommended us because we are now content creators? The replacement computer they recommended for us is almost 10 grand. It almost fell off the table.
Okay. Well, mine is HP, which doesn't matter. It's kind of like buying a NTD mower. You don't know what engine's in it, right?
Okay.
But it was $1,300 with the screen, with a 22-inch screen. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
No, I just bought an HP laptop last week. I got delivered. It was on sale from like $750 to like $650, but it's got an i5, 12 gig of RAM. It's nice, and it's got the backlit keys, so at night I don't have to wake everybody up with the lights. I mean,
that's what I'm on right here.
But what do you have for a video editor, Bruce? What do you use?
I still use old Movie Maker from Bill Gates.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
That's what I
I
started
like
with.
it.
It's a good product.
I had to buy it. I had to buy it with the new computer. It used to come free on the older stuff, but now I had to
They
buy it
still
at
sell
30
it?
bucks or 30 bucks. Yeah, they still sell it. And
Is
it's
that
good.
what you use, James?
Hey,
I used Movie Maker for probably the first year, and then I finally went to Filmora because there were a couple things I wanted to do that I just couldn't do with Movie Maker. It's a good program, but
I'd like to stretch my audio out a little bit more so that I could, when I talk, I don't have enough pause between my subjects because I rattle on like an old man, and it would be just to stretch the audio out and cut it.
That's one of the things with Filmora. You can split the audio and cut out some of the space and keep the video continuous, so it almost seems like
things
a little bit flow better. Yeah,
and then voice picks up again.
Because everyone's been telling me to get like Vegas 14, 15, 16, something like that.
You know what?
And they're not that bad. I mean, you can get like the older version for 40, 50 bucks, no big deal. But Filmora, I tried the free version, which I like. The only thing is at the end of it, it says Filmora all over the screen,
Yeah, it's because it's the free version. You got to pay like $50.
Yeah.
I've been using Movie Maker for 8 years, and I'm getting pretty good on it. The very first thing I do is I stretch it right out for as long as it'll go, so I can see every waveform and every little, if I say a swear word, I can actually just cut that out, and you don't even see it. I'm getting pretty good on it.
That's the key, though. It's like once you find something, stick with it, because editing takes a long time, and if you don't know how to use the software, it's going to take you a lot longer to get
3 to 4 hours per video.
Yep.
So let me ask you though, with the Filmora though, can you put in the little blurbs that you can click on to link to videos and things, like when you see a little picture of a video and all that?
That's for YouTube at the end of your screen. It's called YouTube Editor, and that's how I do my videos at the end.
Yeah, YouTube does all the tiles, the click on here to see this video. You have to do that.
I'd love to get the one like Mick has, where it has ring the bell and a ding ding ding, and all that looks pretty cool.
I think how Mick got that, because if you look at other UK channels that are associated with
it, guys have that. Yeah.
I think he paid somebody to do that. Okay. So all he does is just drag that into the video.
Okay, I use Musty as kind of I don't follow Musty. I don't do the same kind of work as he does, but I see what he doesn't do anything. He doesn't even have intros. He doesn't do an intro. He just jumps in and he's going to work on that old motorcycle till the end. He doesn't push product. He doesn't do anything. He just does his thing. His videos are an hour, which take a long time to watch. And so mine are half an hour and his are an hour. But I just, he uses an old little freaking camera, the size of half of that, and no mics, nothing. And he just chugs away, and he's got like 275,000 subscribers. He doesn't have to go to work.
Yeah. And like I said, when Apple recommended us a $10,000 computer, I fell off the chair. I'm like, I'm just a subpar YouTuber. And I brought up a channel for the guy. I said, there's Musty One, and there's other guy, Whistling Diesel, who has over 1 million subs, and he walks around with his cell phone. That's it.
Donnie Boy 73's got a simple setup. He does have an external mic. I've known Donnie Boy since I started. He kind of got me. He got me. He was friendly to me.
The first one I ever saw here was
like I was friendly to Dave Ackerman and a few other guys. Like helping Mick. I've helped out Mick. So yeah.
There's a guy on YouTube that I look at. His name is Wes Champlin.
Yep.
And I tell you, but you see how many subscribers he's got?
He has a crew. He has a crew.
Is that what? Because he's at 990,000.
Yeah, he has somebody videotaping.
You need clerical. You have to have clerical support. You'd have to have.
I tell you, he does some cool stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not taking any credit away from him. He's a good content creator, very accomplished mechanic.
Entertaining too.
Yeah, he has somebody videotaping him, and then he also has somebody editing.
Well,
subs you could afford. You could afford that. You could write it. You could write it all.
Don't tell anybody, because I sing one line from a song in every video, right? But I don't really sing it. It starts spreading, and I'll stop. I don't want to get zapped.
Yep. I say all the time. I says I got banged for, but if you want to talk about it now, I've got hit with copyright issues.
Yeah.
YouTube reached out to me and says, hey, if you have any copyrighted videos, we could fix that for you. And it takes a little while, but they take away all the copyright issues for you.
That's right, and you can question them back. Like if they flag a video, you can go check it out for me again, and there might only be a 2-second thing, that's in there that like a Dodge even going by or something stupid, I don't know.
But someone was telling me with these not expensive, but with the bigger editors like Vegas and stuff, like Jason, especially you with the road noise, it's just a line on the editor and you just delete it, and the road noise is gone.
So from what I understand with the road noise, I use iMovie and I've researched road noise, and they says you can't delete that out. You could reduce it, but you can't delete it out. So that's why I do a microphone. But
it's true.
Channel's been a growing pain if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it's true. I have not spent much money. I don't think I've spent $500 on cameras and $30 on Movie Maker and a new computer every 4 years, which I need anyway.
Yeah,
that's all I've done. That's all I've done.
It's free. So it's funny. We spoke to different people throughout Apple because we had different issues. One guy recommended us a 10K computer, and then another guy spec'd us out a computer, and it was like $2,300. I'm like, what a difference! Like, do you guys get paid commission? No. Then why would this idiot tell me about $10,000 on a computer?
Okay. And the $1,300 for my desktop, I thought was a lot.
Yeah, and the $10,000 computer, Apple and iMovie are the same. Right? If you can get free,
Apple is a cult as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but then the $10,000 Apple comes with some crazy editing software that's not even Apple supported, and I'm like, I fixed lawnmowers and pressure washers. Here's my screen share. Look at my Honda video. Do you think this looks like a $10,000 video to you? So our computer's over 13 years old. So I mean, it's time for a change. It's daily.
Oh. I've got a Vista in the garage.
You know what? Apple makes a good product. I'm not going to lie. The problem is, if you want to talk about computers, maybe James would know. Our computer has a mechanical SSD.
Yeah,
they aren't mechanical. They're either SSD or they're hard drive.
Okay. So it has a mechanical.
But you need solid state. Yeah, mechanical is a big problem. Like I'm using a 7-year-old computer. But I have a solid state drive in there. It'll run like 700 times faster. I mean, it's
this new computer I'm on right now that we're talking is it's got a solid state electronic hard drive, no spinning, no movement. It doesn't have as much memory, so I just keep telling my wife, well, I'll stick that down out because I bought an external hard drive for memory. When things pack up, I just move stuff down onto that. And we only use about 30% of our hard drives, whether it's a hard drive electronic or whether it's a spinning. And they run so much better when you keep the desk clean of shortcuts and stuff. Don't forget, being with TELUS, the phone company, we had to be good on computers too, right? I'm out of there now. I'm 10 years.
So with our iMac, right, they changed everything where you have to take a heat gun because everything's packed into this little thin screen. You have to take a heat gun around the whole screen and carefully pry it out without cracking or breaking anything. And it's just, I watch videos on YouTube. I would do it, but I couldn't do it with her in the same room because she would be freaking out all over me. Yeah,
it's time for you to go to buy a HP.
I tell you, my HP, Bruce, I love it.
Yeah. So I even told her, like, why don't we get a laptop? Because we're not doing anything crazy.
Just a run-of-the-mill garden variety laptops with the Bill Gates software and use it.
And a laptop, flip it over on its side, do a couple of screws, and you can change all you want. But she's old.
And my nieces have never had anything but Apple, and they actually are amazed that I can do all this with a standard PC.
Well, Apple.
I just say it's the same thing.
But it is what it is. I agree, Apple's a cult, but on the other hand, Apple does make a good product. I mean, my buddies run PCs and they don't have the same one after 13 years. They've had issues. They've upgraded it. We've only had problems since we became content creators. I hate the word YouTuber. I don't know why it bothers me.
It's like data volume. It's just data volume, and the old machine can't handle it.
Well, listen, I'm going to check out.
Time to go.
Right. I appreciate everybody.
We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Brucey. I don't know when we're going to see you. We'll probably see you in Mix, right, Bruce? In Mix tomorrow?
Well, Mix comes on at around noon here.
Yeah. Okay.
2 o'clock your time. 2 o'clock.
As always, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Thomas, stop talking so much. All right.
It was nice to see you, Thomas.
All right. Any questions, comments, suggestions? Hit the like. Don't hit it. Whatever you want to do, feel free. But that's it for me. We'll see you guys later. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.